a perceived failure usually means that something needs to change, some sort of pivot needs to happen. And I think your story is a really great testament to this, of all of the pivots that you have gotten to do throughout your journey that has really made your storyline so beautiful. And this feeling that I feel like a lot of individuals have, especially who are jumping into entrepreneurship, of this like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. Um, I don't want to commit to anything because I'm not sure. I don't want to fail. And not really understanding the concept of pivoting and that it's okay to change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't mind, kind of sharing the pivots that you've gone through within just your business journey, because I think that that's super powerful. I feel like so many people don't get into it, or so many people stay in their niche that they picked for way longer than they should, even when it's totally, they're not aligned with it. It doesn't feel
Mm-hmm.
good. It's not creating the income that they're expecting. There's a passion somewhere else that's bubbling up. But because of this word failure that you explained so beautifully, they don't want to pivot because they don't want to have to explain to their friends, family, community that there's been a shift. So could
Yeah.
you explain a little bit about, your journey, maybe a couple of the pivots that you've gone through with your business in order to get to where you are? It hasn't just been a straight line.
No, not at all. And I love this question so much because my husband and I actually sat down and talked about this not too long ago. Because when I first stepped into the world of entrepreneurship, I actually started out as a real estate agent. I thought I was going to be a realtor. I thought that's what I wanted to do. And then I started paying attention to different things, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this. And oh, I like helping these people. And I just genuinely wanted to help. And that opened up other doors into a corporate position, which then led me into opening up originally what was called Agent Services Plus. And Agent Services Plus was a consulting company that was highly focused on the administrative background of people's businesses. I had a medical administration degree. That's what I enjoyed doing. So I was like, cool, I can help people with all the crap they don't want to do, right? And so the whole thought process around that was that I was going to stick in real estate and I was just going to help people and help their teams. What I started doing, though, was standing by my boundaries, standing by what my feelings were attached to that. So every time I would do something, I'd be like, okay, do I enjoy doing this? No, this sucks. Like, this is burning me out. Like, I'm tired of doing it already. And I allowed myself to kind of pivot in that piece. That led me to opening up the space to entrepreneurs. And I was like, okay, well, then I'm going to work with real estate agents and anyone else, any entrepreneur, and I'm going to help them on their back end stuff. And so that was the focus. What happened with that was I thought that that was the direction that I wanted to go. And my husband and my family, that made sense to them. So sticking by that and kind of following kind of the corporate panel piece as well allowed them to understand what I was doing and to be able to help me grow my business in a linear way.
Mm.
What ended up happening through that was I had a couple of clients, I loved it, then I hated it, and then it got boring, and then I got burnt out. And then there was always like, do you ever get this feeling like that little bitty tug, like you have a little kid kind of pulling on your shirt, like you just barely notice it, but you like brush it off? That's the tug that I kept getting. Like, this is not what you're supposed to do. Like, you should go this direction. Like, you should try this. And I kept shoving it off. And I kept pushing off. What ended up happening with that is I actually spiraled completely out of control in my business. I quit posting about it. I didn't want to network with people. I started shutting down because I didn't know how to build my business the way that my husband and my family wanted me to.
Mm.
And then I also realized that building it that way was suffocating me. So I went from talking people to building a business to having clients to literally coming to a complete halt and not doing anything. and then freaking myself out because there was no money coming in and I'm still having to pay my part of the bills and I have kids to take care of. And so it was like all these things kind of tornadoed together, right? And I was working with a mentor at the time and I was telling him about this, and they just asked me, if you could do anything that you wanted to do, and money didn't matter, it wasn't an object, you had all the money in the freaking world that you want, what would you do? And I was like, I want to help people. I want to help people that are struggling like I was, and I want to give them the hope that they can do something better. But I don't want to help them in the way that most traditional people do, where I say, okay, well, this is my way of doing it, and so like you can do this. Like I really want to listen to them because people didn't listen to me. And I want to hear what it is that they're saying, and I want to help build their business the way that it works for them. And that does play into the mindset piece as well, because if you don't work on that, your business only grows so far and you fall back, which is what happened to me. I didn't focus on my mindset. I was just focused on how can I build a business? How can I build a business? They said that I should do it this way. And so when I finally made that decision to stand in that power, that's when things shifted. And I had a conversation with my husband and I said, look, I understand that, like, you know, from a corporate mindset, from a very linear perspective, this is what you think I should do. I said, but I am meant for something so much more. I said, and I got into the business to do what I love to do. And I should be able to continue to tweak that business and change that business as I evolve as a person as well.
Yeah.
And as I understand that you may not believe in it and this may not make sense to you, I was like, but just do me a favor and trust me. I said, that's all I need you to do. And he was like, okay, whatever you need. So that's when I stepped into the space of, you know what, I really love working on the operational piece of people's businesses. And I love helping them on the back end because nobody pays attention to that because they get so caught up in the strategies and the strategic pieces of digital marketing and branding and all the stuff that I did. And I was like, I want to help them create a foundational piece where they can breathe, where they can take some of their life back as they build their business the way they want to. And I want to help them with their mindset. And I've had a lot of people say this to me too. Oh, well, that's kind of weird that you shove the two together. I'm like, why? I'm a multi-passionate person. I love working on the operational side and I love helping people with their mindset, but I've had people come to me that specifically want to have someone that helps them just work on their mindset piece. Why can't I do both? Why can't I do both? If that's what I love doing and I get to share two pieces of me, which is the business side that I've always enjoyed, and the piece of me that had to grow and needed support, and I get to provide that to people, I should be able to do both. I can do whatever the hell I want. It's my business. Mm-hmm. And so pivoting into that is what led to all of these changes. I mean, the amount of people I started meeting with was on a different level. The way that I conversated with people when I networked was on a different level. The people that they were introducing to me was on a different level because I was standing in what I believed and not holding back to be like, well, I mean, if you don't agree with that, you know, I mean, I kind of can do it. Like, I stopped judging people's facial expressions and just like wholeheartedly was like, this is what I do. Don't understand it? Sure, cool. I can answer more questions. Like, I'm cool with that. Don't understand? That's okay. You don't have to. It's fine. Like, I know what I do. And by stepping into that, that's when my podcast got picked up on a radio station. That's when I realized, holy crap, Agent Services does no longer serve me. Like, that is so freaking old. That is so 3 levels ago that I need to branch out into something that really defines what it is that I want to do, that wholeheartedly encompasses where I am now and where I know that I'm going. And that's where the Lotus Effect came from. Because that has always been a symbolism to me for the crap that I went through. It always reminded me that no matter the murky, muddy, crappy water that you come from, you can always rise to the top and turn into something absolutely beautiful. And that is the journey that I take people on. And sometimes that looks like more in their business and more focused on strategies and tactics. And sometimes it melts in with mindset. And then for some people, they've kind of got their business really good, but their mindset's really awesome. If you just help them with that, they can shine with everything else. So I get to encompass every bit of that into what I do. And I get to help people on multiple levels because that's what I know that I'm meant to do. And that's what I enjoy doing. And I know that I'm meant to do something greater than that. And I know that I'm going to spread this message even further. I know that speaking is going to be a thing. I am going to be on stage just like I was at 10 in front of hundreds of people. And I'm going to be sharing this message with people on a completely different level than what we're used to hearing. And I'm okay with that. But when I learned to step into who I was and I accepted who I was instead of worrying about what other people thought and making sure that I fit into their cup of tea, that's when everything flipped. And so now to me, it's just writing another chapter, whatever that looks like for my business. And I can move it and I can pivot it and I can evolve it to whatever I want at any time that I want, because I'm growing. And as I grow, the type of clients that I'm going to work with are going to grow, and it's going to shift and it's going to change. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.